Five-star offensive tackle Caden Proctor will not be sticking around for the Iowa Winters. He put the pen to the paper and signed with Alabama this morning after decommitting from Iowa last week. Iowa State is coming off of back-to-back losses, but that didn't stop the fans from showing out. Some students started camping out on Wednesday. The two constants of KC have made it out: barbecue and passionate sports fans. Do you believe in love? I don't know, maybe. That's a question Packers fans are asking after two lackluster performances from their quarterback in primetime. But it also means that Bulldog fans get a whole week to celebrate this Missouri Valley championship. It's not every day that you get to meet All-Pro Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. For hundreds of Central Iowa kids today, that dream came true. Purdue has been a thorn in the side for Iowa recently. The Boilermakers have won 4 of 6 over the Hawkeyes, including 2 of 3 right here in Kinnick Stadium. Bears receiver Chase Claypool was asked if the staff was using him to the best of his abilities. He paused and said, no. Well, today was a healthy scratch, and he stayed home to absolutely nobody's surprise. The toughest regular season test for the Hawkeyes lived up to its name. Iowa got blown out 31-0 in Happy Valley. And they've maintained the status as one of Iowa's best kept secrets with just 2 full-time groundskeepers and a lot of help from a proud community. Those 4 words were only muttered 2.5 times per game in his true senior season. His super senior year, he took it up a notch. Rebraca saw an increase of 10 minutes per game and nearly tripled his scoring output, getting him to the second leading scorer on the team and an All-Big Ten third team nod.
He's always been tough. He's always very tough. It's just he really came into himself, and he thinks of himself as a primary scorer, which he is. His consistency this year was spectacular. As he figured out the conference after going through it for 1 year.
Philip's path to where he is now is far more complicated than just the transfer portal. His dad, Zelko, played professional basketball and journeyed across the world.
I was born in Italy, Treviso, Italy, when my dad played for Benetton. I lived there for like a year or so. We moved to Athens, Greece, where he played for Panathinaikos. Over there, he won a EuroLeague title. He was a Final Four MVP, and then he wanted to test himself and go to the NBA. So we lived in Detroit for like 2 years. We moved to Los Angeles, where he played for the Clippers for another 3 years. And then we moved back to Italy while he played in Spain for his final season of his career. And then he retired, and we all moved back to Serbia.
He spent a few of his teen years in Serbia, thought he had what it took, and moved back to the States and played at an academy. From there, he went to North Dakota and used the lessons he learned growing up.
I really got to see firsthand what it means to be a professional athlete and what type of toll that takes on you physically. And now, as I'm older, I understand what it takes, like, mentally.
Philip and Zelko aren't the only notable basketball players to come from Serbia. 2-time reigning NBA MVP Nikola Jokic is also from Sombor, the hometown of the Rebracas.
Are at or near historic levels.
Our town is like, basketball is rooted into it, and then just seeing another player from that town succeed at the highest level, there's nothing you can do except like feel warm.
Jokic is 4 years older than Philip, but when they were younger, they did some training together. And even though Rebraca will probably never win an NBA MVP, there is some Joker influence in his game.
I wouldn't compare myself too much to him, but I like the pass fakes, I like the post moves that he has, and sometimes the no-look passes.
His dad is still back home in Serbia, where he owns a professional basketball team.
They're in a rebuilding phase, and I asked them, how much is the monthly earning, and I decided that wasn't enough for me to play there.
Wherever Philip ends up next year, it will be just another place the game of basketball has brought him.
Senior from Sombor, Serbia.
From Iowa City, Jake Brend. Local 5 Sports.
Bat speed's awesome, fun to watch. He's got good power in the box. He's a great athlete around the bases, in the outfield. As a player, you can't ask for much more.
Last season, DeRocher was top 10 in the American Rivers Conference in batting average, OPS, slugging, doubles, home runs, RBIs, and total bases. He's a ball player addicted to the game.
Seems like anytime I'm in the office, I hear the bat pinging and I walk into a hitting room and I look, it's him hitting with 3 or 4 other guys. And it's 3 or 4 different guys every time.
Not only is Colton one of the best baseball players in the ARC, he's one of the best athletes that Central has. And he does it all with a deformed left hand, a defect that he's had since birth.
For me, it was like tying my shoes. When I got contacts, like trying to figure out how to put those in. But everything else, I like learned and taught myself at such a young age. So honestly, from probably like 7, 8, 9 years old, there really hasn't been anything that like I had to like relearn or like learn new.
He couldn't be where he is today without his work ethic, something that he learned when he was 7 at a basketball practice. The drill was to dribble around the court with his left hand, but he told his coach that he couldn't and immediately felt embarrassed.
When my dad picked me up and like told him, expecting him to show me sympathy, and instead of showing sympathy, he basically like chewed my butt and basically said he's already seen me overcome more than he ever thought. So then he gave me a big speech on if I don't believe in myself, nobody else will. And ever since that moment, it was never like I can't do this. It's more of like how am I going to figure it out.
Colton has obviously figured out how to be an elite baseball player, but what he's overcome to get there is rarely talked about by him. He wanted his play on the field to do the talking.
He won't talk about it on or off the field, but you watch him sometimes and it's jaw-dropping. It puts a lot of people in awe. His swing is probably smoother than almost anybody in the conference.
At the end of the day, it's not something that's talk, hey, even with one hand, he does this, he does that. No, he's a great athlete, he's a really good player, and the stuff that he's done on the field is special regardless, and it adds to the story that he happens to have a birth defect.
He swings like any baseball player, but in the field he has to improvise. It's unique, but the transfer is still quick enough for him to play in right field every day, but that doesn't stop teams from testing him.
Some kid hit like a routine single to me. I like picked it up not thinking anything like of it, and then next thing you know I see him rounding first and I throw him out of second base by like 40 feet.
You're giving us a free out there. He's got a great arm. If you want to test his ability to make the transfer, then test his ability to make the transfer. He'll make a good throw 9 times out of 10.
DeRocher has spent the summer playing on the Louisville Sluggers Warriors national amputee baseball team, traveling the country. In the spring, he'll play his senior season at Central, just 9 home runs away from the school record. In Pella, Jake Brend.
It's inspiring, honestly, watching him do some of the things he does.
Regardless of your situation, you can make the most of it.
Local 5 Sports. It's the toughest test of the year for the Hawkeyes, a whiteout in Happy Valley. And let's take a look at this atmosphere at Penn State. Iowa started this game exactly like they wanted. Pinned Penn State inside the 5, got the ball back in great field position, but McNamara flips to Eric All, and the tight end tries to do too much. The ball pops out, recovered by Penn State, and they go down to get a field goal, so it's 3-0 Nittany Lions. Now Iowa receiving a punt, typically a specialty for them, but the ball bounces off of a Hawk, and Penn State recovers. A rare special teams mistake. Then the Nittany Lions capitalize on this one. Drew Aller, man, he's a good quarterback. Drops back, rolls out, then looks the other way to Khalil Dinkins. 9-yard touchdown, 10-0 Penn State. And then it's nothing good after that for Iowa. Cade McNamara only completes 5 passes for 42 yards and doesn't finish the game. And Iowa finishes with the same amount of first downs as turnovers, with 4 and just 76 total yards of offense. Penn State triples time of possession and total plays and dominates. Iowa gets shut out for the first time since 2000. We'll have reactions from players and coaches tomorrow. On the other end, it was a must-win for the Cyclones. Iowa State hosting Oklahoma State, a team that was also coming off of a loss to a group of 5 opponent. The Cyclones were 3.5-point favorites. This could very well be the last time ISU's favored all year, and it was a bad start. Ollie Gordon ran for 71 yards and set up Alan Bowman for the 12-yard score, 7-0 pokes. And ISU, they started conservative and it didn't work out, but then they open it up, 5 plays, 75 yards, capped off by a wide open Jalen Knoll touchdown. He had himself a day, 146 yards. This one's tied at 7. Now Rocco rolls out and hits Daniel Jackson, 29 yards, 14-7 ISU. But OSU comes right back and ties it, and then in the second half, it's Beck back to Jackson. That's his man. And now it's Eli Sanders scoring his first touchdown as a Cyclone. Iowa State up a couple scores, and somehow with 2 minutes left, it's a ball game. Oklahoma State with a chance to tie, but TJ Tampa ices the game with the 4th down interception. ISU wins 34-27, and the game changed when they started attacking downfield. Beck completed 71% of his passes for 348 yards, but most importantly for him, a Big 12 win.
I feel like it goes up whenever I see the trust in this offense and this team in me. When I see that, it just gives me more of the ability to, speak up, speak my opinion, and having the trust in them is a great confidence booster for me. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and I'm proud of this team for getting this win.
Since week 1, he's been confident. Even through the losses to Iowa and Ohio, he kept his confidence, and that gave us confidence.
I think he would tell you he stacked great confidence, but just how he practices, his process to get better week in and week out. All those things are starting to show up, and I think it gives you great confidence, man, how you need to go win the football game.
Along with the 3 touchdowns, Rocco threw for over 9 yards per pass. And let's take a look at some other football from the state. In the American Rivers Conference, Central handles Luther on the road 41-16. It's win number 150 for Jeff McMartin in year 20. And Simpson hosted 3rd-ranked Wartburg and got beat 63-0. The Knights look poised to make another deep run in the D3 playoffs. And Grandview, they were on the road tonight against Missouri Valley, but the game went into a weather delay hours ago, and at last check, the Vikings were winning 55-7 in the second quarter. I bet they got that one. How about that, guys?